Hi, I'm Cody. I'm a Visitor Services Assistant here at the Gettysburg Seminary Ridge Museum. The museum is housed in the building behind me. This was originally the first building here on the seminary campus. It was erected in August of 1832 when they started holding classes here. Now, originally this was the back of the building as it is today. But however, there was a period of time about 32 years after the battle when the War Department constructed the avenue that is just behind the building, and this transformed into the front of the building. Now, if you were here when the Adams County Historical Society was here between 1961 and 2011, you might be aware that this was also the front of the building. The entranceway would have been through the Peace Portico behind me. That's the structure I would like to talk about today, is the purpose of the Peace Portico, which is the six-column structure behind me, the entranceway into the western side of the building. There are about 1,300 monuments here at the Gettysburg battlefield, yet only 2 of them are dedicated specifically to peace between North and South. This was the first of those 2, however, it's probably the lesser known of the 2. The more well-known of the 2 is the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. It's located about a mile north of us on top of Oak Hill. It was dedicated in 1938 by President Franklin Roosevelt at the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. This structure here was complete and dedicated on May 21st, 1914, just after the 50th anniversary of the battle. Now, where we're standing here on the western slope of Seminary Ridge overlooks where the battle would have begun west of Gettysburg on July 1st, 1863. In 1913, 50 years after the battle, from June 29th to July 6th, about 54,000 veterans descended upon Gettysburg for what was officially titled the Peace Jubilee. These would be Civil War veterans who were coming here to come together in a time of peace, North and South alike. This building here at the seminary sponsored about 527 guests who were welcomed into the seminary and has served as a hotel of sorts during their stay. In response, the seminary received about $3,000 in compensation for allowing these guests of what were known as the Pennsylvania Commission to stay here. With this $3,000, in part they decided to construct a grand staircase or grand entryway here on the western side of the building. As fate would have it, at the exact same time, there were discussions about whether there should be a monument to peace here to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the battle. And so coincidentally, these would serve the same exact purpose. This was dedicated, as I said, on May 21st, 1914. This was during the seminary's commencement ceremony that year. The keynote speaker that day was Henry Eyster Jacobs. At the time of the battle, Jacobs was a student here at the seminary. His father, Michael Jacobs, was a reverend, and he was a professor at Pennsylvania College, today known as Gettysburg College, just northeast of the seminary. In his keynote address, he spoke about the purpose of this building, that it had served during and after the battle, both as an observation post for Brigadier General John Buford and First Lieutenant Aaron Jerome, as well as the fact that the building was used as a hospital for somewhere between 600 and 700 guests here from July 1st through September 16th, 1863. I would like to read a few portions of that speech for you here today. He said, "This old building, plain and unpretending though it is more truly a monument of the great battle than are the hundreds of costly structures scattered over this historic field. They were not here when the air was full of shrieking shells and stifling vapors, and the sun was clouded by the smoke of artillery and musketry. But it was then that these walls received their baptism of fire and the scars of honorable wounds. This building was itself a part of the battle. Could there be a more appropriate place for a peace memorial than in a school whose great purpose it is to send forth messengers of the gospel of peace? What could be more fitting than that it should face the pathway by which the enemy came and by which he again returned? What more appropriate outlook than the vast expanse of the territory of thousands of miles?" When the Peace Portico was dedicated, as I said, this was the first monument. There will be another one, the Eternal Light Peace Memorial, dedicated about 24 years after this one was dedicated. This portico has kind of a troubled history after that point in time, however. It will start to decay as the building itself decays. This was the main seminary dormitory until 1954, at which point the state of Pennsylvania and the Lutheran Seminary decided to start moving students out of here due to some structural concerns. And one of the main structural concerns was actually the roof of the portico, which was removed during some renovations in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Now, during the most recent renovation to this building, when the Seminary Ridge Museum was put in here, the roof, as you see today, was replaced. But if you were here when the Adams County Historical Society was here, you might remember that this roof was gone for quite some time. If you get a chance to come here to the Seminary Ridge Museum, we do periodically offer tours of the Peace Portico. Public access is typically not allowed onto the portico. However, under some special occasions, we will. give about a 15-minute guided tour, go into a lot more detail about what exactly the portico was, go into a bit more about Henry Eyster Jacobs' speech at this here, the first monument to peace at the Gettysburg battlefield.